Hello and welcome to the Virtual Speaker Success Summit. I'm your host, Erin Lomanjek, and I am excited to have this firecracker with me today. We were talking about this. Some of the people on this summit, I only met off of Clubhouse. And if you think about Clubhouse has only been around since December, last year, I've only been on since December. And I have power-packed this summit with a lot of my amazing friends that we do business on Clubhouse together and support one another. So that's how Arvee Robinson and I met. She is a master speaker training, international speaker, and author of Speak Up and Get Clients. She teaches business owners how to use public speaking as a marketing strategy so they can attract more clients, generate unlimited leads, grow their business, and make a difference with their words. Arvee has trained over 5,000 individuals, given 3,500 speeches around the world, and has shared stages with speaking giants such as Mark Victor Hansen, Brian Tracy, Les Brown, Tony Hopkins, Laurel Langmeyer, Sharon Lecter, and many more. Arvee is the top how-to trainer in public speaking, and I am just so thrilled to have you here today.
I am so excited to be here, Erin. So excited. All right.
It's so much fun to play with other people that are doing what you do, but in a different way.
That's right. That's right.
It's all about collaboration. So I'm sure you didn't wake up as a 5-year-old and say, I want to be a speaking coach. So tell us, how did you get to where you are today?
I didn't wake up that way either. As a matter of fact, it's completely by accident. I came out of corporate America. My degree is in information systems, by the way. And when I got out of college, Deloitte Haskins and Sells, one of the big 8 CPA firms, hired me to set up financial accounting systems on microcomputers when they first came out, and to teach business owners and entrepreneurs and controllers, CFOs, how to automate in the mid-size businesses, because up until then they couldn't afford big computers. I remember my first system that I set up was a dual floppy. We didn't even have a hard disk back then. So I know I'm dating myself, but that was a revolutionary time. So my boss came to me one day and he said, Arvee, I want you to get out there and start speaking and tell people that we're offering this new service. And I thought to myself, what piece of cake. I took one speech class in college. I was good to go. I knew everything. Yep, everything there was to know about public speaking. Or so I thought. Well, doors for speaking engagements would open wide when you work for a company that size. But the problem is I wasn't getting any clients. Nobody was coming and talking to me at the end of my talk. And I would see other speakers and they were changing business cards after they talked, and no one was even coming up to me. So I thought to myself, something isn't right, but I didn't know what it was, right? I just knew something, this isn't right. And so one day, just like that, one day this woman comes up to me and I thought, oh, I must be doing something right. And I'm doing my happy dance and she comes up to me and she looks me in the eye and she said, honey, I hate to tell you this. And I'm thinking, well, don't, right? And she goes, I hate to tell you this, but did you know that after every sentence you say, okay? And I just looked at her, Erin, and the only thing I could think of saying back to her was, okay. But I got it like that in that moment, that I was the problem. That just because I could speak, just because I could flap my jaw, didn't make me a public speaker. So I decided that I was going to respect public speaking and get trained. So I went to the library, checked out all the books I could find on this subject, went to seminars and workshops, anything that even had the word communication in it. I hired coaches and mentors, and it wasn't long before I started getting, as I got better, I started getting clients. And the better I got, the better my clients got. And I thought to myself, this stuff really works. And then not only did I have a full practice where I hired staff over time, but I learned very quickly that I could use public speaking in my management meetings for upward mobility within my firm. And that's what I did. And it wasn't long before, boom, I reached the very top. In 23 years, I reached the top. I know it sounds like, well, that's not very soon. In a CPA firm, it's very soon. So I reached the top that I could go, which was a senior manager position, not being a CPA myself, but being a management consultant. And then I realized that there was no other place for me to go, that I was no longer blazing trails like I was in the past. And all I was doing was managing staff and evaluations and doing proposals. It wasn't fun anymore. I wasn't out in the public and I wasn't training. So it wasn't fun. So I decided it was time to make a change. But all I knew at that time was systems. All I knew was, where my degree was, systems consulting. So I did what any smart girl would do, Erin. I prayed about it. And it wasn't long before God gave me the answer. Public speaking. But he didn't say it like that. He said, teach others what I've taught you. And I knew exactly what he meant. So 17 years ago, I left corporate America, everything it had to offer, and started my own public speaking training firm. And since that time, I've trained over 5,000 business owners, teaching them how to step on stage and get clients and grow their business. I've given over 3,500 speeches all over the world. My most favorite was on the Nile River in Egypt, but I don't say that to impress anybody. I say it because it was a life choice to change lives for a living. And that's what I've been doing. And that brings me here to talk to you today. I get to meet cool people like you.
I love it. And it is so funny because it is those little whispers. You're like, what is this? And, I'm kind of bored with what I'm doing. I can't really go anywhere. There's a call for more. And I feel like so many people have that call for more. And whether that's you're in corporate and you have the call to more and get out of corporate. I have a lot of corporate clients, so I hear that a lot. I'll work with them when I talk and they're like, I want to write a book about this as well. I now want to be a thought leader in this. And I'm like, okay, because I'm thinking they're in corporate, they want to stay in corporate. But I've noticed so many, and I think now with the change of the world, more people are like, I work from home, I work for a company, but what if I work for myself? I think it's changing the world right now because it's giving that call for more and more space to breathe.
The key here, though, Erin, is when you get that calling, listen, stop and listen. So many people just kind of push it away and they think that they're obligated to stay in the position that they are, and you're not. Follow your dreams. I know it sounds like cliche, but be quiet long enough to listen and do what you're supposed to do in the next chapter or the next stage of your life, because it's time. You've paid your dues, doing whatever you're doing, and now it's time for you to change lives for a living.
I love this. This is so awesome. So what would you say is probably the biggest mistake business owners are making when going out and speaking?
Oh, thank you. The biggest mistake is they go out like I did, thinking that they can step on a stage and get results without getting trained. Big mistake. Guess what? There's no do-overs in public speaking. So when you step on stage untrained and unprepared, you could lose not only money and potential sales and clients, but lose reputation. This is a small, tiny industry, and people know speakers and they recommend speakers, and you don't want to have a bad mark or bad words said about you. So don't jump on stage. Instead, get trained, and get trained by multiple trainers, because I'm a different kind of trainer than you are, Erin, and there's other trainers out there. So it's like college. You don't take one class in college, especially if you're majoring in something. You take many classes, and you take advanced classes and more classes. So when you decide that, yes, you have a calling and you want to step on that stage, take as many public speaking classes as you can, and then step on stage, and then take some more. Continuous education, what I call continuous speaking improvement. Continuous speaking improvement, always, if you decide to be a speaker. So get trained.
Amen, sister. I mean, I just enrolled in being certified under Roger Love's vocal methods. I've been using his methods for years. I've went to many of his events. I went to Bo Eason for storytelling and stage presence. I went to Rick Burchard for marketing experience for speakers. I've gone to almost everyone, but I can't wait to come to one of yours, to anyone who teaches speaking, because even for me, I want to know, maybe there's another way of doing some things. Maybe there's an easier way, something that's working better. I want to know about it. And so I'm always attending. I've attended so many Speaking seminars, you would like, it would blow your mind and how much money I've spent doing it, but it makes me better. And it gives
Yes,
me
it
a
does.
deeper level of understanding. And I'm like, I like what this person says and I like what this person says. Let me combine that and see what that does, because that feels more in alignment with me.
Right. Well, and then you can know who to collaborate with or who to refer your other clients that do what you don't do. But one thing that I love and one thing that makes me different, because I came out of the systems world, I teach people systems, systems for speaking, systems for setting up their elevator speech, systems for their speaker introduction. So everything is systemized. Now, it's not like boring. No, it's invisible. Think of it like a frame, right? That you're in a frame. A picture always looks better in a frame. So when I came out in this world teaching, I was looking for systems because that's what world I came out of. I'm, a debit is a debit, a credit is a credit. There's flow charts. I mean, there's no guesswork. So there were no systems except have a beginning, middle, and end. And I was like, well, but no one is telling you what to put in the beginning, middle, and end, or how to move your audience and get them to fall in love with you. So I started developing these systems that help people, especially beginning speakers, on how to craft a persuasive presentation that gets people to take action.
I love that. And that is the key. We could all get up on stage, like you said, when no one was lining up to talk to you. We've all had that moment. We're like, oh my God, Erin, you're so great. That was so amazing. Thanks for coming. Can you also speak here? I'd love to have you, but no one bought. Cricket.
Yeah, crickets.
We've
Crickets.
all had that. And it was my pivotal moment too, of like, I went outside to my car, put my forehead on the steering wheel and was like, what do you want? I thought this is what I was supposed to be doing. And then the message got to me that you need to work on closing and learning sales, and because you weren't, and the way that I was offering it, I was also out of alignment. I'd be like, this is so awesome. I have all these amazing things. I'm showing my value. And then I'm like, oh, if you want to work with me, it's like this, right? Like the energy would shift. And if you shift your energy, people go, ooh, what just happened?
What happened? Right.
That woman who was speaking 5 seconds ago disappeared on me. Like,
Yeah.
look at this, So I definitely think the same way. I'm like always up leveling that for myself and finding those things. So if you are speaking out there and not converting and not understanding how to do that, you need to contact Arvee, because she's so good at that and she can help you just go, it's just a couple of these little things. Like it could be as simple as, okay.
Okay. Right. It could be your filler word. I wanted to tell you one of the very first speaking engagements that I went on was some friends of mine were putting on an event. This was like my second one, and it was selling from the platform. And they wanted me to speak on networking, not speaking, which is the first lesson. If you have a signature talk, something that you promote, that you give over and over again, don't let anybody change your mind. So they wanted me to speak on networking. Well, I do speak on that, because I've been leaders of networking groups in corporate America. So I did that. Yeah. And then at the end, I sold my speaker training. Talk about a disconnect. People are like, whoa, wait, you're talking about networking and now you're selling. And I didn't know. And it wasn't until I talked to my mentor and he said, well, it was a disconnect. You're selling you're talking about apples and you're selling oranges. And I was like, duh, I didn't know. Right. So there's so much about speaking and selling that you don't know. And even though I was a speaking coach and I was, teaching people in corporate America how to speak, I didn't close from the stage in corporate America. So that was something that I had to add to my own toolbox. So very, very different.
I love it. No, that's the thing. And I think that's what makes it so much easier to relate to people like us when we tell those stories, when we say, I get it. It wasn't always easy. I have a video I show of one of my very first red carpet interviews. And my filler word for that one was definitely and awesome. Definitely. Everything they would say, definitely. I wasn't even staring at the camera. I was staring at the guy that was interviewing me. And then I would be like fidgeting. No, I was licking my teeth because I was smiling too much. My gums got stuck, right? I'm like,
oh my God.
Like all of it. So I show that because I want people to know, like, I wasn't born this way. It's work. It's mastering your craft. It's getting better. It's continuous growth. Like you said, keep going out there and learning more and more, because there's tons of these tiny little nuances that you might just be missing. It could be easy to just shift and everything explodes.
And they cost you. All those little nuances will cost you sales or reputation. And again, sales I can make up, maybe not at that event, but reputation, I'm telling you, it takes years to change or fix that. So do not let your reputation be scarred in any way as a bad speaker. Oh, that would be horrible.
Oh, I know. Well, we know that they're out there, and we all know that we as speakers, we all network with each other. If people ask me all the time, who do you know that speaks on what?
Yeah.
And even everyone that applied to speak at this summit, we all have this box that says, who else should we ask? And they all give me referrals. So we always are doing that. So being a part of this summit is also really good networking and community. We're going to have live sessions and all these things. And so you get to meet other of the speakers, because what if you have the same audience? Why not, band together and do something together? Stage swap, pod swap, interview swap, like all of those things, mod together in Clubhouse, whatever that is. But that is what you need. And I will tell you, the referral system inside of speakers is key. And I think a lot of people aren't tapping into that.
I agree. Well, we're going to tap into it right here, right now.
Yes. And that's what I do. Like, that's what I love. It's finding other people. And here's the one thing, and I'll maybe even just share this, because before we started hitting record tonight, we were talking about that same thing. Arvee works with a lot of beginning speakers. She's so good at getting the systems and the structures and the things. And then I can take them the next step and go deeper into that. And then there's more people to go from there. So if you want to find people to partner with, find people that are where your clients will come from and where you can send them to. Because then you can do referral partnership agreements, affiliates, all of that. So you're making money by just going, your next step is Arvee, like your next step is here. And that is what helps, because then it's a win-win-win. The client is happy, you're happy, and then the person that's getting the new client, the next coach, is happy. So it really truly is the easiest way. And then you don't have to know everything. I think there's so many people out there trying to know everything. And so they never actually get clients, because they're just keep increasing and go, I got to know more before I get clients. I need to know more about this. I need to know more. It's like grow. And then the people behind you, they only have to be a couple steps behind you. Keep growing, and your audience will keep growing.
I so agree. Absolutely. Well said.
Well, I would love to know. So if when a speaker comes, I'm a business owner, I'm coming to you, I don't really know what my message is. How do you help pull that out of them? Like, I have all these stories, all these ideas. I don't know, because that's what I hear a lot, right? We have all these things.
That's a great question. So the first thing I ask them is, what is their passion? And a lot of times they have several passions. What are they knowledgeable about? And what is there an audience for? So let me give you an example. Yes, I love public speaking. I'm passionate. It's my calling, and I'm knowledgeable, and there's an audience. I know that for sure. But I also love dogs, Aaron. One thing you don't know about me, I love dogs. I mean, I love them beyond love. And, and I lived 3 weeks without a dog once when my dog passed. And then I got 2 boxers right now. But, so for me, right, my hierarchy is God, my husband, and dogs. And sometimes it's God, dogs, and my husband when he's in the doghouse, right?
He's in the doghouse, the dogs are inside.
Yeah, but that's how much I love dogs. But that wouldn't be a good speech for me. I'm passionate about them, but I'm not knowledgeable about them. Yes, there's a market for them. So you really need all 3. You need to be knowledgeable. Now, knowledge you can go out and get trained if your passion is big. But what do you have right now in your toolbox where you're passionate, knowledgeable, and there's an audience? That's where we begin to start to uncover, because it's in there, but they're so used to that self-talk about, I don't know. They got buy-in somewhere in their lifetime that was okay not to make that decision, because then they don't make a wrong one. We all know at our gut level what we need to be doing here on this planet. And if you don't think you know, then go meditate, because it's there. Ask God. I mean, quit circling, because you're using that as an excuse not to commit to do the work that you were called to do. And it is work. Whatever you're called to do will be work.
Well, let's just be real. Entrepreneurship is the MBA program. It is, I
Exactly.
say it's the personal development 2.0 because it is the mastery of personal development. You get rejection, you get work issues, you get like, there's so many things that can come up in entrepreneurship. And it's like, you got to start working through those things too. And the great part is all that mindset stuff and the things that you need to shift in your programming and belief systems are then after you do it, you can go, guess what? Hey, audience, I did it too. You can do it too. Right. And
That's
so
right.
knowing that as they come up, go, oh, and that's what I feel about stories. I feel like, you know, when when a circumstance, let's just say COVID hits and you have to pivot, you have to figure out, you have no answers. You're like, what do I do? What's the next step? It's
Right.
in that, or in the places where I lost $65,000 in an event with an event producer who was a fraud. It was
Right.
scary. I didn't know how I was going to do it. And I was like, what do you want from me? What is this? But I knew there was a deeper meaning that would get me to the why after, like the, you know, okay, this is why it happened to me. And after you get through that, when you figure that out and go, oh, I see what happened, because that's actually what happened in 2019 is when I lost the money. It was in October of 2019. I had to pivot. I didn't have the answers. I had to figure out what I wanted to do, how I could make this up, what I would need. And then when COVID hit, I went, oh, you just had me prepare so that I knew what it felt like before. They now are in it now. And that was the one thing. But at the time when I was on my knees praying for the answers,
Right.
I was like, I don't understand. And now I'm like, I get it. And so now I feel like when something like that happens to you, it happens for you and it happens for your audience. Because, you know, after that, when everything fell apart, March 8th or 13th last year, all of us speakers, all of the event producers were like, now what? We went from like book 15 gigs to nothing, or, you know, things like that. Or I had 6 events of my own on the books. And now what am I going to do? And so in that, it really, you know, what ended up happening was I started studying with all the top people on events and what was happening in the industry. And I learned so much more. And so then my event story became like, this is why I can help you do events and be an event producer, because I know what it's like to lose.
Right.
You know, and I don't want you to do that. Trust me, it's painful. I went through it. You don't have to, because I know the route to the top of the mountain. And that's the thing. All people's stories, the things that happen to them, these things as you're growing, like your story about so, right? It is.
Okay. Yeah.
You can use it to go back and say, if that's you, I get it, because I've been there, done that.
Absolutely.
I love it. All right. So let's say with COVID, what happened for you? Tell us like what was that shift? What did you have to do? How did you stay afloat? All those things, because I think there's still some speakers out there that are like, I still don't know what to do. I still don't know how to get on these virtual stages. What's going on?
Right. Well, I had a couple events on the books, and one was in April, and it was a live event. And at first, Aaron, I was like, I'm going to do it. I was hunkering down. I've got people coming. They paid for this event. It was just a 1-day event. I'm going to do the event, right? And I was hunkering down. And then, of course, March, the middle of March came, and I saw all my other events that I was going to attend, networking. Cancel. And mine was at the beginning of April. So I thought, oh, well, I better. So I did. I pivoted and I made it a webinar. Now I've been using Zoom since 2015. So Zoom was not foreign to me. I've been coaching people all over the world. I've been doing webinars. I haven't done an event per se, but webinars, right? So I switched, made it a webinar. I made a ton of money and everybody came, everybody loved it. And I thought, whoa, this stuff really works. So then what I did is I had my 3-day $1 million speaker summit. And I did that. That was in September. I'm having another one. And I did that one. Now, I want everybody to know that selling from the platform on a virtual stage, and you probably teach this, Sarah, is very, very different than selling live on stage. I'm telling you, and I don't want to jinx anybody, but it's a little bit harder. I don't know if you found that, but it's more challenging because the rapport building is more challenging. So since that time, I've been teaching people how to learn Zoom better, not only technically, but Zoom etiquette. Hello, especially as a speaker. Little things like don't wear bracelets because you can tap and they make noise. Hello, I know, right? Watches, soft watches are okay.
Yep.
So, I mean, things, microphones. Hello, you're a speaker. You got to get a microphone. But I've been teaching Zoom, teaching virtual speaking, presentation mastery, and actually Facebook Lives, because it's a good time to step on all stages virtually and get your message out to the world. So I'm going to say, my business didn't miss a beat. I was ready, and thank God for that, to just pivot into the live speaking arena. Now, since that time, and I speak a lot, I got a wall board that I keep track of all my speaking engagements. So just in the last 4 months, I've spoke 95 times. So there's no shortage of virtual stages for people to speak on, just like this. I think this has been a boom for speakers. So I had an event for Habitat for Humanity, which I'm on their board. I give service. I'm also serve on SCORE as a presenter as well. And this lady comes on that I selected her, for it was a home sweet home event. She's an organizer. I picked her to speak. And then right during our tech talk, before we go on the event, she's like, well, I've never spoke on Zoom. I'm like, what? Where have you been for the last year? Hello, you're a speaker. Do not let this virtual world stop you. Instead, get trained. People for me, and I'm not the only one teaching Zoom and teaching speakers how to speak virtually. A lot of other people are doing it, but that's one of the niches that I've been doing for the past year. You've got to be ready to speak always. There's so many opportunities out there now as a speaker to reach people all over the world and never have to leave your home. I think this is the bomb. I love it. Now, I got to speak one time live in a year. So just a couple of months ago, there was a live event. Of course, they're very small. It was like less than 20 women. It was a women's event. And I'm telling you, it felt great. I mean, virtual speaking is fun and all that, and it's got its advantages, but nothing takes place of the live, touchy-feely, huggy, building that rapport with your audience. But let's face it, right now, we're going to see kind of a hybrid of that, and we're going to see both for a little while. It is not going to go like a rubber band and go boom and go to 200-person events live. It just isn't for a while. I've heard one of the top speakers estimate that it's going to be 2023 before we really get comfortable as an audience member to go to large events. Now, that speaker could be wrong, I could be wrong, but it made sense to me. It made sense. So I'm not booking any hotel rooms. I was lucky to get my deposit back from the hotels that I did have in the works. But I'm my next big event, which is the $1 Million Speaker Summit, which I do annually. It'll be my 6th year doing that particular event. I'm going virtual. I'm not even going hybrid with the studios, because you know what? There is some intimacy that you can have in like what we're doing now in somebody's office. I make it look like a stage, but I like it. I like it. I don't have to travel anywhere.
Well, and you're literally right now, we're in people's homes. We're in your home. We're in your office. We're in your bedroom. Maybe we're in your pocket because you're listening to it as you walk up with your phone. We're in there with you. I think that level of intimacy has changed the dynamic completely. And I mean, the reach you can get as well, having it virtual. I've been in my events in the last year, I've had 7 other countries that I've never experienced people flying in from to attend. And now it's a global audience, and you have better reach for that.
That's right. Let me share a quick little story, Erin. So I'm at another event, and it was a business event online, right? And so I'm at this event, and then somebody asked in the chat about speaker training or whatever. Normally I would not ever do this, but it wasn't a speaking event. It was a business event. So I just kind of put it out there. Well, here. Well, this woman clicked on it and came to my event, and she was from the Netherlands. And I reached out to her because I don't have anybody on my list from the Netherlands. I would know that, right? So we did a Zoom call and she was laying down. And so I asked her, what was going on. She said that this pandemic is the best thing that ever happened to her because she has a disease with, that I guess it's a spinal disease where she cannot sit up. I just got chills. She cannot go to live events, even being from the Netherlands, she cannot go to any live events anywhere and sit and learn. Now the whole world of training has opened up for her. And she's been, she came to my 3-day event. I put her on my stage, my virtual stage, and she told her story. She reached people reached out to her. I then was at a couple other networking events and I saw her there here in America. It's amazing the lives that you can touch. It's just mind-boggling, but heartwarming. This is just an incredible time in our history, not only speaking history, but the world history of being able to reach out. We thought social media kind of, opened up the lines of communication, certainly Clubhouse, but this whole pandemic for speakers and audiences, I think has been a blessing in a lot of ways.
Well, and it's leveled the playing field. You don't have to go get a huge hotel room and try to fill 2,000 people in a room. You can do this all virtually from your home. I have a 65-inch screen here. I can stand next to it and present, turn all my camera equipment that way, my lighting, all this stuff. I can sit in my chair and do the same thing. So it's knowing that there's so many opportunities in it. And now thinking about events, it just has really leveled the playing field for people who are like, I want to do an event. I'm scared. It's a huge risk. You could lose $65,000 in it. But with this, I had a 19-person retreat, totally virtual in, I think that was 2 months ago. I have another one coming up in June, and that one will be hybrid. But in that, even just the virtual, I had 100% conversion into a mastermind, $20,000 mastermind, where they didn't even know what it was because I didn't really pitch it. And because we just deeply connected and we really did some work about stories and all this stuff. And because I'm in my home, I'm a little more vulnerable sometimes and just open and honest and transparent. And so
I agree.
Showed through that. And they were like, I want more of you. And so that's why they filled out the application to the mastermind, because they're like, I don't even know what's in it, but I want more of you. And so that's the thing that we all have access to, is just showing up. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is. It's how you deeply connect and do that with your audiences, whether it's virtual or on a real stage. And let me tell you, I spoke on a stage in February and it was like, I felt like I was a drug addict. I was like, oh my God, I missed this so much.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really awesome. So the intimacy in all of this is really awesome. The global reach you can have is so much better. Like, it really is, the opportunity is right in front of you right now. So I'm so super glad that you're all here. Well, Arvee, tell us, you have a freebie, which is turning interest into income after every speech. And so tell us a little bit about that, and then tell people where they can find out more about you as well. We'll have all the links on the page, but tell them what they get out of this stuff.
Right. Well, I have 2 freebies, Erin, if that's okay with you, because I was thinking, well, you know what? I want, if it's okay with you, people to come and experience my $1 Million Speaker Summit virtually, right? And again, you'll be a part of it, so don't worry about that. But so the first one is being able to close on stage. And it's not for the sale, because that takes time. Go to Erin for that. But it is, what do I do to get interest? What do I do to get people to type in their email address in the chat? What do I do to pull out the leads like a lead magnet? So that's what that is. So that's at Arvee Robinson, and Arvee is spelled Arvee, Robinson.com/free closing script. Free closing script. So arveerobinson.com, free closing script. That's yours for free. Go grab it. It's so valuable. You will love it. But the other one, if you like events like this, then go to $1,000,000speakersummit.com, $1,000,000speakersummit.com. That's not till September. And when you go to, I want you to go to the VIP sign up, because why would you do anything other than be a VIP? I wouldn't. But I want to give you the VIP for free. That's $197 right there. All you have to do is when you go to the form, type in all capital letters, rocket. All right? Because you're going to rock the stage. So rocket, like a rocket ship, you're going to take off. Right? So $1,000,000speakersummit.com and go to VIP and type in rocket, and you'll get a free VIP ticket.
I love that.
Erin and I will see you there in September.
I love it. I'm excited. I'm excited to, like I said, I'm excited to see what you have to offer and come and learn from you as well. And so I'm just really honored that you'd give that away to this audience. So you guys do not miss that. Take the opportunity. She's gifting it to you. There's no excuses. No excuses. Right? So just show up. If this is what you want, this is what we say. Keep getting better, keep growing, keep learning from other speakers, keep doing the work, and you will get to that point. I just love it. Well, thank you so much for that. That is such an awesome thing. And so people can find you more on arveerobinson.com. Is that also a good place for people to find you?
Yeah, but you know what? It's always better to find, I think, people nowadays in social media. So Facebook Messenger, follow me in Clubhouse. You and I need to do something in Clubhouse too, Erin. But I think, to me, Facebook Messenger is what I see immediately. You can also go on LinkedIn if you're a LinkedIn user, but it may be a little longer before I see the message. But just Facebook me, and I'll be there. I'll
love it.
Right away.
I appreciate you being here, and I want to close it out with the one question that I ask all my guests, which is about your future self. So my future self is ELJ. She sat on the trees with Oprah, $40 million company, New York Times bestselling author, done all the things that are on my dream board that I'm working towards. So her mindset is totally different than mine. And so when I need some confidence, I borrow confidence, but I also bring her in and ask her advice. When I'm stuck with something in my business, I don't know, where should I go? I have these two opportunities. Which one do I take? I ask her advice. So if I was to bring your future self here today, Arvee, what would she say to you?
Well, first of all, I've never thought about the future self, so I love that whole concept. So I will build her up. But I think two things. Number one, and I don't mean this in a conceited way, but I want you each that are listening and watching to take this on, because your future self is probably going to say the same thing. And that is, you're greater than you think you are. You're greater than you think you are. You're more of a genius. There's greatness inside of you. And most of the time, all of us, even myself, we think smaller than we are. We play smaller than we are. We think somebody else is an icon up there and we're not, when people look at us as that icon. So she would say, you're better than you think you are. And I want to tell all of you that there's greatness inside of you. You are better than you think you are. And keep learning, keep training, and keep sharing, because the way we get better and show our greatness is by sharing our greatness, not by keeping it aside. That's number one. Number two is, girl, why did it take you so long to create your legacy program? People have been waiting to teach your information and your intellectual property. Why are you sitting? Why did you sit so long? Right? Get it out there.
The little, I love you enough to slap you upside your head. Come on, let's go. Stop waiting.
Stop it.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all your loving heart and how you serve the world. I'm just feeling so in gratitude of having you not only in my business, but in my life. And I can't wait to continue to work together and collaborate.
Oh, thank you, Erin. Thank you. Mwah. Love you.
Love you too. And thank you guys for attending the session, and we'll see you in the next session.